Welcome to the What's Our Verdict podcast, where we fashion ourselves television judge and jury. My name is JJ Crutter. I'm here with my co-hosts, Mattson Heiner.
Charles, I hate you. This is the better read than dead.
And Alec Burgess.
Let's get it.
We appreciate you tuning in. Sorry, we've been ripping on our good fan, Charles. We appreciate you, buddy. Mattson's got to watch this movie today, and he's not happy. So thanks for tuning in. We're going to be reviewing She-Hulk, episode 1. Or season 1, episode 1. Been looking. I don't know if I'd say I've been looking forward to this particular show. I've been like, yeah, it's coming, but I've been intrigued by it because the comic is quite interesting. Because she does all the fourth. She kind of like has some Deadpool-esque stuff to her. She's just not raunchy about it, right? So she breaks the fourth wall, as we see in this first episode. You get a little bit of that.
The fourth wall, is that a reference? I mean, I know what you're talking about, but is that like a common reference in life that I'm not aware of?
It's in movies, TV, like anytime they talk directly to the audience, that's breaking the fourth wall.
Oh, I got you. I thought we were talking about sex in Captain America.
What the fuck?
But
I don't know if you did.
I don't know what the first three walls would be before that, but
Those are bases.
Like bases.
I know that premise, but it's like, oh, the fourth, that's like, I haven't heard that one, but maybe it's like the bases or something.
I appreciate my intro, sir.
Okay, I haven't seen Taylor for a few days, okay?
Yeah.
So now you're breaking walls?
It's like fucking gonna go home and like Kool-Aid man it. Taylor, I'm home.
I don't know. I'm sorry. I mean, I was like, oh, maybe she's one of the few Marvel characters that's talked about sex. That's not Deadpool. I don't know.
Oh god, that was funny. I mean, I think we'll see that eventually. There's like previews where she's on Tinder and shit, like hooking up. But oh man, that was funny. Yeah, no, she talks to the audience directly.
I wasn't ready for that.
Way.
And actually, that's one of the first things I was going to ask you, JJ, is what was your take on that? Because I know sometimes that's not in your wheelhouse.
Yeah, like fourth wall breaks are tough, but I expected it with this because it's common for the character. The She-Hulk comic is very funny, more funny than a lot of comics. Like it has a lot of comedy level to it. And I haven't gone through, like I'm not a huge She-Hulk fan, but anytime she's around, you can almost guarantee there's going to be a fourth wall break and her talking directly to the reader or the audience in the show. So, and she is funny. She's just, it's a funny premise and it's silly. And so I'm looking forward to it because I think there's going to be a lot of really good comedy in this, if the first episode is any indication. And, you know, a lot of people are poo-pooing it, but I think everybody's just poo-pooing Marvel in general at this point. And
what are the critics poo-pooing on? I'm curious.
Well, and it's not just critical. Mostly the CGI gets a lot of poo-poo. And again, you can't look, even the Hulk in the movies, they don't linger on him long because it's gonna break. Like there's no way that it's just, we don't have it to where it's that clean in a realistic fashion, even though he's still got to look somewhat human. So, I mean, I get mad when people look, I shit on CGI all the time. I mean, we just did when we talked about Bullet Train, but at the same time, in this case, you know it's not going to be perfect. It is what it is. Just deal with it and realize that there's going to be moments where it doesn't look good. Now, I thought it was okay and pretty decent in most cases. Some of her facial expressions were tough, but they're also trying to translate. And this is when the Hulk even got weird, was when you try to put Mark Ruffalo's face into the Hulk. Well, it's the same thing when you put Jennifer Maslany's face or Tatiana Maslany's face into her character, you're going to have that weird glitchy shit. It just doesn't work perfectly for faces, especially. So
yeah, that didn't bother me. Like you said, I knew we were getting, I mean, I already knew what Bruce Banner Marvel Hulk looked like nowadays. Like I wasn't perfect, but I never expected. But what does the audience want us to do? Go back to like Planet of the Apes in the 70s and use that type of look? You're like, well, that doesn't look good either. We don't really have a great a great choice there because the Hulk is like 10 feet tall and is like 500 pounds of muscle. And what are you supposed to do?
Yeah. Yep. Well, and again, and I feel like there's like a lot of the controversy comes too from the fact that there's been this big news thing where Disney or Marvel or whoever, they were rushing at some point the CGI, or they were underpaying their people. I haven't read too much into it. I don't know a lot, but so I think that's compounded the shit on the CGI stuff because they felt like they were mistreating their employees, and maybe they were. I don't know. Like I said, I haven't done any research into it, but I think that's added to the grump about the CGI. But I didn't have that much of a problem with it. There were a couple of moments where I was like, "Eesh," but most of the part it was fine.
I do have something I want to ask you two about that they'd never focus on this until this TV show about Bruce Banner and the Hulk bleeding. One, I've never seen the Hulk bleed. And then all of a sudden it's this easy where the arm's right up and she's got an open wound and it's transferred. But I think it maybe has something to do because they're related and that's why it happened like that. Because otherwise I'd never knew that this was even a thing, and I didn't even know that he could be hurt like that. But maybe it's because he's done some of this manipulation. I thought the Hulk would have just come out and saved him and he wouldn't have been hurt at all. But I was a little confused about it because it seemed rather convenient that it just happened like that fast and that instantaneously.
It was that device he had, right?
Mm-hmm.
Because it kept him human. It kept the Hulk out. So because he had his little wrist.
And I could understand that. I guess I was more so about like the blood aspect where it's just that transference. I was like, oh, like, okay, can that happen to anyone? Or is it just because it was her and they're related? And he explained it that we have some more gamma related properties. And this is why.
Yeah, it's in the comics, she gets in a car accident and she receives a blood transfusion from Bruce, an emergency blood transfusion because they match up, their cousins. And so that's how it happens in the comics. So they shortened that up and made it so there was the comedy involved and they were together, so that's how it worked. But it is the fact that his blood carries this mutation with the gamma radiation, and then she has similar DNA markers that allow her to metabolize the
all right, well, if that's
gamma
how the
radiation.
comic was written and they had to speed up a little bit, that's fine. Like I don't really have a problem with it. What I did like though is that she basically took his 10 to 15 year journey into finally like having some a working relationship with Hulk, and it took her like a day.
yeah
That was funny. The whole playbook, and he's like, "Oh, we just don't need any of this." Just gets
I really enjoyed their banter back and forth. I thought it was really good how they kept tying Tony Stark in their relationship, and like had that emotional moment where you can tell he's still kind of torn up about it. The whole carved initials in the bar that they built together. So I like that tie-in. But yeah, the comedy between the two of them was pretty funny. Like even in the trailer, you see that part where he's got her in the buzzsaw room of death or whatever. And she's like, I think you're just trying to kill me. And he's like, thumbs up, and she comes running out and throws the door. He's like, that's like $1 million worth of damage you just did right there. Yeah. I enjoyed the comedy. I thought it was funny. I liked the moment where he's like training her or whatever, and she's outdoing him in every single way. In that he's teaching her like all the balance stuff, the throwing the rocks and the knocking. And I did love when he like pushed her off the cliff and she's like, dick move, as she flips him off and she's falling. Like I just had a good time. I thought it was, again, it goes back to kind of like the whole, and I know Alec will not be happy about this, but like the Miss Marvel, just wholesome, silly fun. I was happy to see that in another show. I like that it's got this lighthearted mood where, and I'm sure there'll be plenty of heavy moments in the show, but for now it was just fun.
I want to hear what Alec thinks. He's been rather quiet.
It's true.
You guys care if I have a snack?
Oh God.
What is it? Oh, Cheetos with chopsticks.
Who's gonna have Cheetos? Yeah. I did see his
Sorry,
TikTok.
I didn't eat anything today, so I just kind of wanted to get
I haven't seen the TikTok of this, so we have a TikTok video of him eating. Like, oh my gosh, he's doing it.
Yeah, dude, I appreciate your skills with chopsticks.
Have you guys seen I saw online that there's a company that sells finger chopsticks though, that like when you're playing video games and stuff, they like attach up here on like more closely to your like mid knuckles, and you can be doing stuff and just close it like this and pick food up.
No, I
I've never
haven't seen that.
such a thing. I
But
would
you know,
use them.
to JJ's point, some of the new Marvel shows I can't really approve of or don't really enjoy, but they do have great food tips.
Yeah.
Like no Cheeto dust to be found in my household anymore. Which does take the fun off of licking your fingers.
I was
which,
gonna say.
is kind of the best part about eating Cheetos. But
Mhm.
this is really, really nice. But I did enjoy the humor. I will say kind of the CGI back and forth for a little bit there. I was like, dude, she looks like Fiona from Shrek.
Yeah.
Like, am I watching Shrek 5? So there's little moments like that. I am curious to see about the dynamic back at the law office. Because we see she got a coworker who really doesn't think she's up to snuff. She's had to kind of like push uphill the entire way. Now she gets superpowers. So how is that going to relate back to someone who's really had to work hard for everything, and now she's kind of imbued with these superhuman powers? What kind of dynamic is that? So I'm looking forward to it. It was a really good opening episode. So yeah, that was enjoyable.
I'm about to do some product placement here. JJ, did you click on that link I sent?
I haven't yet. Let me.
It's in the chat. Click it.
Oh my goodness.
Snack Tick. For those that I saw, it's apparently on a Shark Tank product that it goes between your like index finger and your what is that? Your not your middle finger, whatever that other one is called, and you like
Your pointer finger.
Pointer finger and the other one, and then you squeeze them together and you like pick up food.
Yeah, it's good because snacking, you get shit on your controller, your mouse, your keyboard.
Yeah. JJ's making a purchase later today.
Probably will.
Tell you what. What else did I want to say about this? Like, yeah, it was. At times though, I felt like Bruce Banner's character, Mark Ruffalo, was a little deadpan in some of his delivery. That I noticed for me personally that I just thought there'd be more inflection and more emotional weight or something. I don't know. I don't know if I always think he's my favorite actor, because other things he's great, but sometimes when he plays the Hulk, it just comes off a little more dry. But maybe that's just the Hulk being the Hulk. I don't know. But that was really my only qualm. Other than that, I quite liked episode 1. I'm looking forward to seeing what episode 2 is. I enjoyed the balance of humor. I think this feels more like Marvel to me because I know the Hulk, whereas like Miss Marvel before this, I didn't really know where we were going. Didn't really make a ton of sense. But this is an established character where like the whole Tony Stark thing where they're pulling that in. Like I know what that means. I'm like, oh yeah, like that would suck. Like you lost like one of your best friends, and so I have more of a tie in there in that regard. I don't really like Smart Hulk that much, to be honest. Like me, that's part of my criticism of Mark Ruffalo's acting. I just don't really care for that Hulk very much, but it's not dissuading me, and I'm rather excited. I really like the actress that's playing She-Hulk so far, and yeah, I'm ready for episode 2.
Yeah,
and it wasn't too long. Like it was fast. I think they had more in episode 1 than we've seen in previous other starts of a TV show where it had a training montage saying like, let's go, like, let's do it. And I feel like we're not going to go through like 4 episodes of her like figuring it out and having that, like, we're ready to jump into whatever. And clearly, because I don't know what bad person came through the wall during her trial. I was a little confused there, but that was cool.
That was, excuse me, that was Titania. She's one of She-Hulk's main villains through the comics is Titania. So we'll see how that plays out. But I do know, I've read a little bit, and I do know that we'll see her start defending supervillains as a lawyer. Like that's going to be kind of her lawyery thing. So there's going to be a ton of cameos. We've already seen that Emil Blonsky, so the guy that's the Abomination, we saw him in Shang-Chi fighting Wong in that big warehouse thing with Shang-Chi's sister. So in that one little clip, so he'll be in it. He's a big Hulk villain. And then Titania, I'm not sure how she'll play into it, but from what I've read, there will be post-credit scenes. It's already they've released the first 4 episodes to the critics. Then there's a post-credit scene in every one of them, and then there's cameos, from my understanding, pretty major cameos throughout the series. So should be an interesting play. And I did really laugh my ass off at this post-credit scene. Like, that was great. Captain America, fuck. I was like, that is such a funny. And I love that it's just this normal conversation too. Like, she's in the car before the car wreck. She's giving this explanation about how she thinks, like, talking, and you don't know what they're really talking about other than he didn't have a girlfriend or whatever. So she's basically, we find out, intimating that he's a virgin at this point, and then and we wait to the cut scene to find out that he's not. And it was just like, yeah, it was great. I thoroughly enjoyed. I just thought it was a fun show. I thought it was entertaining.
Well, I love how Hulk knew the date as well.
Yeah, like
he knew what happened. He knew it was there, apparently.
Yeah, who and when. I mean, they were friends. You talk about stuff like that, I guess.
What's the tie-in with this ship? Because there's not a lot like these episodes where I was talking about, well, what's next? What's going to happen? Does anyone have any hunches like where we're going or like what the tie-in of the ship is? I'm in this mode because we just finished Westworld, and that show, you got it like freak. But some of these Marvel things we've watched lately, I don't find myself getting into so much speculative mode. I just find myself watching and kind of letting it happen. But I'm curious if there's any theories or wonderments so far.
I think you're going to see a lot of government shit. Now that I know that she's going to be defending supervillains, I think you'll see, again, these TV shows, these Disney Plus shows have had a lot of major antagonism coming from the government agencies. And I think you'll see that in this because she's going to be defending supervillains. So that obviously is a natural antagonist for her character at this point. Now, I also think that you'll see, obviously, Titania, they're not just going to introduce her. My guess is that you might start to see, they've also opened the door now with her because of her, the implications of her DNA and the fact that Bruce burned it, because it could be so powerful. I'm sure that this will open a line to how Red Hulk gets created, and how
I forgot about that,
because they're also making, now I don't know how they're going to do that because unfortunately Mr. Hurt passed away, but so the guy that plays Red Hulk, that is Red Hulk, the actor passed away, so we'll see how that goes.
I didn't know we had someone that already acted as Red Hulk.
Yeah, the general, and I don't know, my mind's going blank, but the one that like you saw in Civil War and then in Black Widow, like the general that was played by John Hurt, that's the guy that becomes Red Hulk. Okay. And they've announced so he has a team, the Thunderbolts, General Ross. So they've announced a movie in the future for the Thunderbolts, or at the very least the TV show. So it's a bunch of supervillains and that get together and he forces them to be. It's kind of like Marvel's Suicide Squad to a degree. So yeah, we'll see how that goes. But they've opened that door now to where Red Hulk could come because they've figured out it's obviously her blood might allow it to normalize and create other versions of the Hulk. So I'm sure that's where they're leaning. So I see that coming, and I think you'll start to see. So I think there'll be a couple of things. They're going to want her blood. They're going to want, and she's going to be defending these supervillains against the government side of things and trying to do that. So I think that's a lot of where you'll see, but I'm interested to see how they tie it all in to what's coming. So, but overall, pretty interesting show.
Cool.
I'm excited to see what's coming in the future with it. Any final thoughts?
I'm excited for episode 2.
See what other
eat your Cheetos with chopsticks, man. Wonderful life hack.
Or buy a snack tick that fits in between your first 2 fingers there. But
not sponsored, but
not sponsored, but sponsored.
If you'd like to sponsor a snack tick, please give us a call. With that, Mattson, tell everybody where they can find us.
Yeah. If you would love to come listen to us, you can find us on Spotify, Apple Podcasts, Ghana, Stitcher, name it a few at What's Our Verdict. Check us out at whatsourverdict.com to see what's upcoming. A lot of TV shows upcoming. I mean, from Andor to The Rings of Power to House of Dragon to what's the other? There's another one I'm forgetting too. Oh, we're doing it now. Jeez, we're finally here. We're doing She-Hulk.
I was letting that play out to see how long it took you to remember.
I have not gotten a lot of sleep lately, but a lot of TV show upcoming. We've got some movies that we'll be reviewing that aren't currently in theaters. I can't even think of the next in-theater movie that we have on the docket right now. We probably need to take a look again. But a lot of that there, you can listen to us on YouTube if you want to see some of our live stuff. Or I think one or two of these TV shows will probably do that again. We've enjoyed kind of interacting with you. And so check us out there on YouTube. And then TikTok for all things making fun of JJ and I. I think Alec has a video of him eating chopsticks with... or Cheetos with chopsticks. Yeah, food hacks. I haven't seen this video yet, so I need to watch it myself.
Ice cream on pizza, chopsticks and Cheetos, man.
Yep. The Marvel food hacks.
Good times, but lots of places to interact with us. And we also have merch. I want to thank one of our super listeners, Charles. As much as I curse his name on this podcast because of the things he makes me do, thank you for buying our mug, Charles.
Yeah, we appreciate it. All right. Well, there it is. As always, we appreciate you tuning in. We'll catch you on the next one.
Bye.
Cinemagic Cow.